The Mongols didn't arrive like an army. They arrived like weather. A horizon that moves, a silence, then thunder. In weeks, borders that took centuries to build break. Cities surrender without a siege, caravans travel under one law, and a single decision on the steppe can echo from China to Europe. This isn't just conquest, it's speed, fear, and a system so efficient it reshaped the world. To understand the Mongols, you have to start with a place that refuses comfort. The steppe is not farmland. It's not a city. It's motion. Grass, wind, distance. A world where winter doesn't arrive, it attacks. Where food isn't stored behind stone, it's carried, guarded, and fought over. On the steppe, you learn one lesson early. If you stop moving, you become a target. Temujin grows up inside that logic, not in a palace, inside uncertainty. Family ties can fracture, alliances can evaporate, a promise can die the moment hunger arrives. So he doesn't dream of a bigger tribe, he dreams of something rarer, a rule that survives betrayal. Because on the steppe, the problem isn't just enemies, it's randomness, and randomness kills. When Temujin becomes Gengis Khan, people imagine a warlord crowned by brute force, but his most dangerous weapon isn't rage, it's administration. He starts breaking the old logic of lineage and replacing it with performance. He rewards competence, he punishes theft, he standardizes discipline. He organizes people into units that scale, clean, repeatable, controllable. Not this noble's men and that clan's warriors, but a structure that answers upward. It's not romantic, it's terrifyingly practical. Because once you build a system like that, you can do something no scattered rival can do. You can move as one mind. And now the steppe doesn't produce raiders, it produces an engine. People say the Mongols were great horse archers. True, but the bow is only half the story. The other half is tempo. They don't advance like a slow tide. They appear like a pressure change. Multiple columns, wide scouting, constant motion. They arrive before a city has finished arguing about what the threat even is. Speed does something to the human brain. It steals planning. Your enemy starts defending everywhere, which means they defend nowhere well. And while the enemy panics, the Mongols gather something even more valuable than loot: information. Roads, rivers, supply stores, rivalries, weak officials, bribable gates. They map a society before they break it. Then they strike like a surgeon. Not always glorious battle. Sometimes a gate at night. Sometimes a feint that pulls defenders away. Sometimes a whisper that convinces a city it's already lost. This is why the Mongols feel supernatural in stories. They aren't supernatural. They're synchronized. Every empire eventually discovers a brutal truth. The most expensive thing in war is time. A siege costs months. Months cost food. Food costs morale. Morale costs control. So the Mongols weaponize reputation. They make sure the world understands that the choice to resist isn't just risky, it's decisive. And fear spreads faster than cavalry ever can. A city hears what happened to the last one. Merchants carry stories like infection. Officials begin negotiating before the Mongols arrive. This is not random cruelty. It's cruelty with logistics. Because if fear can open the gate, the army doesn't have to break the wall. And if the army doesn't have to break the wall, it can keep moving, like weather. Here's the detail that changes everything. The Mongols didn't just conquer places, they absorbed them. They took engineers, artisans, scribes, siege specialists, administrators. The empire becomes a moving collection of expertise, captured, reassigned, forced into service. And suddenly, the old defenses stop working. Walls that once made a city feel immortal start failing, because the Mongols now bring people who know how to break them efficiently. So the Mongol army stops being steppe versus city. It becomes a hybrid machine, a violent transfer of knowledge across continents. The world isn't just being invaded, it's being rewired. At the empire's peak, something counterintuitive happens. After the terror comes access. Trade routes across Eurasia stabilize under Mongol dominance, not because everyone is peaceful, because everyone is being controlled. Merchants move farther than they would dare before. Goods travel, ideas travel, technologies travel, diseases travel. And the Mongols build a communication system that feels almost modern, a relay network of stations and fresh horses. Messages leap across distance. Information moves faster than armies. And if you can move information, you can move power. This is the Mongol paradox. They create fear and they create connection. They destroy cities and they open corridors. They force the world into contact by making distance feel smaller. But no system is invincible, and the Mongols eventually meet a force stronger than cavalry. Scale. An empire across continents isn't just land, it's succession, it's administration, it's competing centers of power. After Gengis, unity becomes harder to keep. Rival claims, regional priorities, political fractures. And once the empire is no longer one mind, the magic weakens. Coordination becomes negotiation, speed becomes less decisive, trade routes become contested, and the weather becomes separate storms. The Mongol world doesn't vanish, it divides, and division is where empires begin to age. So what was the Mongol Empire? If you measure only destruction, it's a catastrophe. If you measure only trade, it's a bridge. If you measure only leadership, it's a legend. But if you measure the true core, it was a system built for speed, a system that turned mobility into control, fear into efficiency, and distance into something conquerable. And that's the final lesson that still stings. A system can reshape the world faster than anyone can understand it. But if it cannot survive its own size, it fractures. The Mongols arrived like weather. They changed the map, they changed the rules, and then, like weather always does, they changed again.